Yes, dear?
Telephone.
Oh, no, dear, not with all of them in there. Say I'm busy.
But, Mother, it's the society editor of the Evening Newsweek.
Oh, the society editor. Oh, she's very important. Hello, Miss Ellerby? This is Vita Simmons. Yes, a tea and reception for members of the Wednesday Forum. You might say a program tea. My mother, you know, was the late Marcella Penny Dow, and her grandmother was a pioneer cultural leader. She came here by ox team as a child, and she founded the Wednesday Forum. Myrtle, how many would you say?
75 at least, so say 100.
75. Miss Tewksbury is the soloist.
Mother, Miss Tewksbury's almost finished.
She'll do an encore.
What if they don't give her a lot of applause?
I've known her for years. She'll do an encore. You might say that I'm entertaining this afternoon, assisted by my lovely daughter, Miss Myrtle May Simmons. Myrtle, what color would you say that is?
Rancho Rose, they told me.
Miss Myrtle May Simmons looked charming in a modish Rancho Rose tone floral. I wish you could see her, Miss Ellerby.
Mother, Miss Tewksbury's almost finished. And where's the caterers?
Everything's ready. The minute she's finished singing, we open the dining room doors and we begin pouring. The parlors and halls were festooned with smile hats. Yes, festooned. Yes, this is the first party we've had in years. There's a reason, but I don't want it in the papers. We all have our problems, Miss Ellerby. The guest list? Oh, yes!
Mother, come.
If you'll excuse me, Miss Ellerby, I will call you later.
Mother, Miss Chauvenet just came in.
Oh, Mrs. Eugene Chauvenet Sr. Her great-grandfather was a scout with Buffalo Bill.
So that's where she got that hat.
Oh, Myrtle, you must be nice to Mrs. Chauvenet. She has a son about your age.
But what difference will that make with Uncle Elwood?
Now, Myrtle, we agreed not to talk about that this afternoon. The whole point of this party is to get you started, and we work through these older women to the younger group.
But we can't have anyone here in the evenings, and that's when we come to call on you. In the evenings. The only reason why we can have a party this afternoon is because Uncle Elwood is playing pinochle at the 4th Avenue Firehouse. Thank God for the firehouse.
I know, but they'll just have to invite you out, and it won't hurt them one little bit. Oh, Myrtle, you've got so much to offer. I don't care what anybody says about young girls. There's something sweet about almost every young girl. And a Van takes that sweetness and look what he does with it. But you've got to meet somebody, Myrtle. That's all there is to it.
But when I do, they say, that's Myrtle May Simmons, probably Elwood P. Down, the biggest screwball in town. Elwood P. Down and his pal Harvey.
Myrtle May, you promised.
All right. Let's get them into the dining room.
Now, when they come in here and you give your little welcome speech on behalf of your grandmother, be sure and do this.
Then after that, I say a few words about Uncle Elwood and mention his pal Harvey. Stupid Harvey.
Myrtle May, you said that name. You promised you wouldn't say that name. Everyone in the Wednesday Forum is going to hear you.
I'm sorry, Mother, but how do you and Uncle Elwood won't come in here and introduce Harvey to everyone?
This is unkind of you, Myrtle May. Elwood is the biggest heartache I have. And even if he is peculiar, and people call him peculiar, he's still my brother, and he's the only brother I have. And he won't be here this afternoon.
Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure.
Why can't we live like other people?
Must I remind you again, Myrtle, Elwood is not living with us. We are living with him.
With him and Harvey.
me if she did.
Why did she have to give all her property to Uncle Elwood?
I suppose it was because she died in his arms. People are sentimental about things like that.
You always say that, and it doesn't make any sense. She couldn't make out her will after she died, could she?
Don't be didactic, Myrtle May. It's not becoming in a young girl, and men loathe it. Now, don't forget to wave your hand.
I'll do my best.
Oh, dear. Mrs. Tewksbury's voice is certainly fading.
But not fast enough.
Lovely, Mrs. Tewksbury. Perfectly lovely. I loved it. Go ahead, sit down. Yes.
Excuse me, I have to answer the phone. Now make yourself comfortable there, Harvey. Hello? No, you have the wrong number. But how are you anyway? Well, good. Well, my name is Elwood P. Dow. I'll do. Well, thank you. What is your name, my dear? Miss Elsie Greenawalt. Harvey, it's Miss Elsie Greenawalt. Oh, how are you tonight, Miss Greenawalt? Well, yes. Well, yes, I would be happy to join your club. I belong to several clubs now. I belong to the country club, the university club, the pinochle club at the 4th Avenue Firehouse. I spend a good deal of my time there, or at Charlie's, or over at Eddie's place. What is your club, my dear? Harvey, I get Ladies' Home Journal, Good Housekeeping, and the Open Road for Boys for 2 years for $6.50 apiece. Well, that sounds fine to me. I'll take it. How does it sound to you, Harvey? Well, Harvey says it sounds fine to him. He'll join also. Yes, 2 subscriptions. Mail everything to this address. Well, I hope I'll get an opportunity to meet you sometime, my dear. Harvey, she says she wants to meet me. When? When would you like to meet me? Well, my sister seems to be having a few friends over. We would consider it an honor if you would come and join us now. Well, my sister will be delighted. Well, I hope to see you in a very few minutes. It's 343 Temple Drive. Goodbye, my dear. She's coming right over, Harvey. Don't you think we better go and freshen up? Yes, so do I. Come along.
I can't seem to remember what I did with that guest list. I must read it to Miss Ellerby. Have you seen it, Miss Johnson?
Oh, I haven't, Mrs. Simmons.
Go look on my dresser.
Ma'am.
Mother, Mrs. Chauvenet, she's asking for you. Here's Mother, here's
find a beautiful woman waiting for me.
Well, bless your heart, you haven't changed. Come along, Cousin Ethel. You mustn't miss the party.
It's punch if you don't like tea.
But I do like tea. Quit pointing at me, you two. Elwood, what night next week can you come to dinner?
Well, any night at all. I would be delighted.
Elwood, there's some mail for you today. I put it in your room.
Ah, was there, Rita? That was very nice of you. Cousin Ethel, I would like to introduce you to Harvey. As you can see, he's a puka. Harvey, this is Cousin Ethel. This is Mrs. Chauvin. We always call her Cousin Ethel. She's one of my oldest and dearest friends. Yes, that's it. She's the one. This is the one. Harvey says he would have known you anywhere. Well, my, you two certainly look lovely tonight. Well, come along, Harvey. We must say hello to all our friends. I beg your pardon. Excuse me. You're standing in this way. Come along. Come along, Harvey. Oh, hold on. You're looking fine. Go on in. I'll join you in a minute. Cousin Ethel, I can see you are disturbed about Harvey. Please don't be. He stares like that at everybody. But he liked you. I can tell he liked you very much.
Some tea, perhaps? Not right now. Well, I think I'll be running along.
But
I'll be talking to you soon. Goodbye. Goodbye.
oh my word!
Myrtle May, where are you going?
Up to my room. Uncle Elwood is introducing Harvey to everybody. I can't face those people now. I wish I were dead.
Come back here. Stay with me.
I won't.
We'll get him out of there. We'll get him up to his room.
I can't do it. I can't.
Myrtle May. Now, pretend I'm fixing your corsage.
Oh, Mother.
We've got to. Pretend we're having a gay little chat. Keep looking. When you see him, tell me. He always comes when I call him. Now, do you see him yet?
No, not yet. How do you do, Mrs. Cummings?
Smile, can't you? I'm smiling. And he's my own brother.
Oh, Mother. People get run over every day by trucks. Why can't something like that happen to Uncle Elwood?
Myrtle May Simmons, I'm ashamed of you. This thing is not your uncle's fault.
You're sticking me with that pin.
That's Mrs. Ellerby. Keep looking. Keep smiling.
Oh, Mrs. Cummings. Uncle Elwood
Yes, sister. Excuse me, Harvey.
Would you mind coming in here and sitting down and waiting until the party's over? I want to speak to you. It's very important.
Oh, of course, sister. I have a little free time right now, and you're welcome to all of it. Oh, you want Harvey to wait?
Yes, Elwood, I certainly do.
Jane Austen. Come on in, Harvey. Vida wants to talk to us. She said it was very important. Yeah, go ahead, sit down. I think she wants to congratulate us on the impression we made at her party. Yes. Jane Austen, deluxe edition. It's Dutton. The usual acknowledgments. All right. Chapter 1. It is a truth universally acknowledged that
Mrs. O.R. Simmons, 343 Temple Drive. Is that right?
We were born and raised there. It's old, but it's our home. We love it.
And you wish to enter your brother here at the sanitarium for treatment. Your brother's name?
It's...
Mrs. Simmons, what is your brother's name?
You'll have to excuse me. Life is not easy for any of us. I'll have to hold up my head and go on just the same. That's what I keep telling Myrtle, and that's what Myrtle May keeps telling me. She's heartbroken about her Uncle Elwood. Elwood P. Dowd, that's it.
Elwood P. Dowd. His age?
43 on the 24th of last April. He's Taurus the bull. I'm Leo, and Myrtle's on the cusp.
43. Is he married?
Oh no, Elwood has never married. He stayed with Mother. He was always a great homeboy. He loved his home.
You have him with you now?
He's in a taxi cab in the driveway. I gave the driver $1 to watch him, but I didn't tell him why. You can't tell these things to perfect strangers.
Mr. Wilson, would you please step down to a taxi in the driveway and ask Mr. Dowd if he would be so good as to step up to room number 24, South Wing G?
Ask him.
This is his sister,
How do-
Mrs.
what?
Simmons.
I'd certainly be glad to escort him.
Thank you.
The rates are here, Mrs. Simmons. You'll find them printed on the back of this card.
Oh, that will all be taken care of by my mother's estate, the late Marcella P. Dowd. Judge Gaffney's our attorney.
Now I'll see if Dr. Sanderson can see you.
Dr. Sanderson? But I want to see Dr. Chumley himself.
Oh, but Mrs. Simmons, Dr. Sanderson is the one that sees everybody. Dr. Chumley sees no one.
But he's still the head of this institution, isn't he? He's still a psychiatrist, isn't he?
Still a psychiatrist. But Dr. Chumley is more than that. He's a psychiatrist with a national reputation. Why, whenever anyone has a nervous breakdown, they at once think of Dr. Chumley.
Well, that's his office, isn't it? You march right in there and you tell him I want to see him. If he knows who's out here, he'll come out here.
Oh, Mrs. Simmons, I wouldn't dare disturb him. I'd be discharged if I did.
Well, I don't like being pushed up on some second fiddle.
Well, Dr. Sanderson is no one's second fiddle. He's young, of course, and he hasn't been out of medical school very long. But Dr. Chumley tried out 12 and kept Dr. Sanderson. He's wonderful. But your patience.
Very well, then. Tell him I'm here.
Right away.
Vida, isn't this wonderful?
Mrs. Simmons.
Oh dear! I didn't hear you come in. You startled me. Are you Dr. Sanderson?
Yes, will you be seated, please?
I hope you don't think I'm jumpy like
Of
this
course.
all the time, but
Miss Kelly tells me you're concerned about your brother. Dowd, is it Elwood P. Dowd?
Yes, Doctor, this isn't easy for me, Doctor.
Naturally, these things aren't easy for families of patients, I understand.
It's what Elwood's doing to himself, Doctor. That's the thing. Myrtle May has a right to nice friends. She's young and her whole life is before her. That's my daughter.
Your daughter. How long has it been since you began to notice any peculiarity in your brother's actions?
I noticed it right away when we came home from Des Moines when Mother died and we came here to live with Elwood. I could see that he...
That he what, Mrs. Simmons? Take your time. Don't strain. Let it come. I'll wait for it.
Doctor, everything I say to you is confidential, isn't it?
That's understood.
Because it's a slap in the face to everything we've stood for in this community the way Elwood's acting now.
I'm not a gossip, Mrs. Simmons. I am a psychiatrist.
Well, for one thing, he drinks.
To excess?
To excess? Well, don't you call it excess when a man can't let a day go by without stepping into one of those cheap taverns, sitting around with riffraff and people you never heard of, inviting them to the house, playing cards with them, giving them food and money, and here I am trying to get Myrtle May started with a group of nice young people. Well, if you don't call that excess, I'm not sure I know what excess is.
I didn't doubt your statement, Mrs. Simmons. I merely asked if your brother drinks.
Well, I say yes, definitely Elwood drinks. And I want him committed out here permanently because I cannot stand another day of that Harvey. Myrtle May and I have to set a place at the table for Harvey. We have to move over on the sofa to make room for Harvey. We have to answer the telephone when Elwood calls and asks to speak to Harvey. And then, this afternoon at the party with Mrs. Chauvenet there, we didn't even know anything about Harvey till we got back here. Doctor, don't you think it would have been a little kinder of Mother to have written and told us? Don't you?
I really couldn't answer that
I
question.
can. Yes, it certainly would have.
This person you call Harvey, who is he?
He's a rabbit.
Perhaps. But just who is he? Some companion, someone your brother has picked up at one of these bars of whom you disapprove?
Doctor, I'm trying to tell you, Harvey is a rabbit. A big white rabbit. 6 feet high. Or is it 6 feet and a half? Heaven knows I ought to know. He's been around the house long enough.
Mrs. Simmons, let me understand this. You say that Harvey is a 6-foot rabbit.
Do I have to keep repeating myself? My brother insists that his closest friend is a big white rabbit. This rabbit's name is Harvey. Harvey lives at our house. Don't you understand? Harvey and Elwood go everywhere together. Elwood buys railroad tickets, theater tickets for both of them. As I was telling Myrtle May, if your uncle was so lonely, he had to bring home something. Why couldn't he bring home something human? He has me, doesn't he? He has Myrtle May, doesn't he? Doctor, I'm going to tell you something I've never told anyone in the world before. Sometimes I see that big white rabbit myself. Now, isn't that terrible? I haven't even told that to Myrtle May.
I can see that you've been under a great nervous strain recently.
Yes, I have.
Grieved over your mother's death depressed you considerably?
Nobody knows how much.
Been losing sleep?
Who can sleep with all that going on?
Short-tempered over trifles?
You just try living in the house with those two and see how your temper holds up.
Loss of appetite?
Who can eat at a table with my brother and that big white rabbit? Well, I'm finished with it. I'll sell the house, be appointed conservator of Elwood's estate, and then Myrtle May and I can entertain our friends and speak in peace.
Of course.
It's just too much, Doctor. I can't take it.
Of course it is, Mrs. Simmons. You've been worrying a great deal.
Yes, I certainly have.
And now I'm going to help you.
Oh, Doctor.
Just sit here quietly, Mrs. Simmons, and I'll be right back.
I'll just go down to the cab and get Elwood's things.
Why didn't anyone answer the buzzer?
I didn't hear you,
I
Doctor.
rang and rang. Miss Simmons. Sound the gong, Wilson. That poor woman must not leave these grounds.
She made with the getaway, huh, Doc?
Her condition is serious. Go after her.
I can't believe it.
Main gate. Henry, Dr. Sanderson. Allow no one out of the main gate. We're looking for a patient. I shouldn't have left her alone, but no one answered the buzzer.
Wilson wasn't south, Doctor.
What do we have available, Miss Kelly?
Room number 13, Upper West R is ready, Doctor.
Have her taken there immediately, and I'll prescribe the preliminary treatment. We must contact her brother. Dowd is his name, Elwood P. Dowd. Get him on the telephone for me, will you please, Miss Kelly?
But Doctor, I didn't know it was the woman who needed the treatment. She said it was for her brother.
Of course she did. It's the oldest dodge in the world, always used by the most cunning type of psychopath. She apparently knew that her brother was going to come out here to commit her, so she came out here to discredit him. Get him on the telephone, please.
But Doctor, I thought she was all right, so I had Wilson take her brother up to room number 24, South Wing G. He's there now.
You had Wilson take the brother in? No gags, please, Miss Kelly. You're not serious, are you?
Oh, I did, Doctor, I did. Oh, I'm terribly sorry, Doctor.
Well, if you're sorry, that fixes everything, doesn't it? Oh,
I'll do
no.
it, Doctor, I'll do it. Hello, Miss Dunphy. Yes, would you please unlock the room to number 24 and give Mr. Dowd his clothes
And ask him to stop down to the office right away.
and ask him to step down to the office right away. There's been a terrible mistake, and Dr. Sanderson wants to explain.
Explain, apologize.
Thank goodness they hadn't put him in the hydro tub yet. She'll let him out.
Beautiful and dumb, too. It's almost too good to be true.
Doctor, I really am terribly sorry. Judge Gaffney called and said Mrs. Simmons would be out here with her brother, and when she came in here, You don't have to be sarcastic.
Oh, don't I? Stop worrying. We'll squirm out of this some way.
Where are you going?
I have to tell the chief about this, Kelly. He may want to handle this himself.
Oh, he'll be furious. He'll die. I know he will. And then he'll terminate me.
The responsibility is all mine, Kelly.
Oh, no, Doctor. Tell her it was all my fault.
I never mention your name, except in my sleep.
But this man Dowd.
Don't let him get away. I'll be right back.
But what shall I say to him? What shall I do? He'll be furious.
Look, Kelly, he'll probably be fit to be tied, but he is a man, isn't he?
I guess so. His name's Mister.
Well, keep him. Go into your old routine. You know, the eyes, the swish, the works. I'm immune, but I've seen it work with some people, some of the patients out here. Keep them here even if you have to do a striptease.
Oh! Why? Oh, you're just wonderful, Dr. Sanderson. You're just about the most wonderful person I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, I was about giving me a lift here just the same.
What?
That Simmons thing,
Oh, did you catch her?
slick as a whistle. She's coming down the path, humming a little tune. I jumped out behind a tree and said, "Sister, there's a man who wants to see you." Should have heard her scream. She's wacky, all right.
Would you take her up to number 13, Upper West R?
But she's there now. I dragged her into the dietary kitchen. Kicking like hell, though. Hey, I'll hold her down till I take her clothes off.
Just a minute, Wilson. Dr. Sanderson asked me to wait down here for her brother.
Make it snappy.
You're Mr. Dowd.
Elwood P.
I'm Miss Kelly.
Here, let me give you one of my cards. If you want to call me at this number. Don't call me at that number because that's the old one.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Oh, that's all right, that's all right. And if you happen to lose it, don't worry about attention. Now, I'd like to introduce
Mr.
you
Dowd,
to... Ah, Elwood P. Here, let me give you one of my cards.
I am
You should
Dr.
look him up.
Lyman Sanderson, Dr. Chumley's assistant out here.
Well, good for you. Good for you. I'm happy to know that. How are you tonight?
Well, that's going to depend on you, I'm afraid. Please be seated. You've met Miss Kelly, Mr. Dowd.
I have had that pleasure. And now I would like to introduce both of
Later
them.
on, very glad to. Please be seated because first I want to explain to
After
you.
Miss Kelly.
Sit down, Kelly. Is that chair comfortable for you, Mr. Dowd?
Oh, yes, it is, Doctor. Oh, would you like to try it?
No, thank you. Is it too warm in here for you? Would you like me to open the window?
Mr. Dowd, Dr. Sanderson wants to know if he should open a window.
Oh, well, that's entirely up to him, you know. I wouldn't presume to live his life for him.
Now, Mr. Dowd, I can see that you're not the type of person to be taken in by any high-flown phrases or beaten about the bush.
Oh, is that so, Doctor?
You have us at a disadvantage. You know that, we know that. Let's lay the cards on the table.
Ah, well, that certainly appeals to me.
That's why in the long run, people are people no matter where you go.
Ah, that is very often the case.
And being human, we are therefore liable to mistakes. Miss Kelly and I, we've made a mistake here this afternoon, and we'd like to explain it to you.
It's not Dr. Sanderson's fault, Mr. Dowd. It was mine.
A human failing, as I said.
Well, I find it interesting nevertheless. Ah, this afternoon, you say? You and Miss Kelly?
We do hope you'll understand, Mr. Dowd.
Yes. These things are very often the basis of a long and warm friendship.
And the responsibility is, of course, not hers, but mine.
Well, I find your attitude to be old-fashioned, but I like it.
Now, if I would have seen your sister first, that would have been an entirely different story.
Ah, now there you surprised me. You know, I think the world and all of Vita, but I had supposed she had seen her day.
Well, we should not attach any blame to her. She's a very sick woman. Came in here insisting that you were in need of treatment. That's perfectly ridiculous.
Well, Vita shouldn't get upset about me. I get along fine.
Of course, but she had already talked to Miss Kelly, and there was a phone call in from your family lawyer, Judge Gaffney.
Ah, yes, I know him. Know his wife, too. Wonderful people.
Is there anything I could get for you, Mr. Dowd?
Well, what did you have in mind?
Some coffee, perhaps?
No.
Your sister was extremely nervous and plunged into this heated tirade on your drinking.
That's Vita.
She became hysterical.
You know, I tell Vita not to worry about that. I'll take care of that.
Of course. You probably take a drink, the same as the rest of us.
Oh, yes, I do, Doctor. As a matter of fact, I would like one right now.
Matter of fact, so would I. But it's her sister's reaction to the whole matter of drinking was entirely too intense. Does your sister drink, Mr. Dowd?
No, Doctor. I don't believe Vita has ever taken a drink.
Well, I'm going to surprise you. I think she has and does constantly.
I am certainly surprised.
But it's not her alcoholism that's going to be the basis of my diagnosis of her case. It's much more serious than that. It's when then she started talking so emotionally about this big white rabbit. Harvey, yes, I believe she called him Harvey.
Harvey is his name.
She claimed that you were persecuting her with this Harvey.
I wasn't persecuting her with Harvey. Vita shouldn't feel that way. Well, and now, before we go
Let
any
me
further,
make
I would
my
like
point
to
first,
introduce
Mr. Dowd.
you both to...
The trouble with your sister didn't spring up overnight. It stems from trauma.
What?
From trauma, spelled Trauma, it means shock. There's nothing unusual about it. There is the birth trauma, the shock to the act of being born.
Ah, that's the one we never get over.
You have a nice sense of humor, Dowd, doesn't he, Kelly?
Yes, Doctor.
Oh, well, allow me to say the same about the both of you.
To sum it all up, your sister's condition is very serious, but I can help her. She must, however, remain out here temporarily.
Well, I've always wanted Vita to have everything she needs.
Exactly.
But, you know, I wouldn't want her to stay out here unless she liked it out here and wanted to stay here.
Of course. Did Wilson get what he went after?
Yes, Doctor.
What was Mrs. Simmons' attitude, Miss Kelly?
Not unusual, Doctor.
Mr. Dowd, if this was an ordinary delusion, something reflected on the memory picture. In other words, If she was seeing something she had once seen, that would be one thing. But this is much more serious. It just stands to reason that nobody has ever seen a white rabbit 6 feet high.
Not very often, Doctor.
I like you, Dad.
Well, I like you too. And Miss Kelly. I like her too.
She must, however, remain out here temporarily. Under these circumstances, I would commend my own grandmother.
Ah, does your grandmother drink too?
It's just an expression. Fill out these temporary commitment papers as next of kin. It's just a formality.
Well, I really think you ought to have Vita do that. She does all the signing for the family and all the managing. She's very good at it.
We must not disturb her right now.
Maybe I should ask Judge Gaffney.
Oh, you can explain it all to him later on. Tell him I advise it. And it isn't as if you couldn't drop in here any time and make inquiries. Be glad to have you. I'll just make out a full visitor's pass for you. When would you like to come back? Wednesday, say? Friday, say?
Well, since we all seem to enjoy each other so much, why don't I come back right after dinner time, about an hour?
Well, we're pretty busy right then, but I guess that'll be all right.
Well, you know, I don't really have to leave at all. I'm not very hungry.
We'll be glad to have you, but Miss Kelly and I, we have to get on upstairs. There's plenty of work to do. But I tell you what you might like to do.
Well, what might I like to do?
Well, we don't usually do this, but to make sure in your own mind that your sister's in good hands, why don't you take a look around? If you go through those doors and right beyond the stairway, you come to the occupational therapy room down the hall. And just beyond that, the conservatory, the library, and the diet kitchen.
Well, for Vita's sake, I suppose I better do that.
Oh, well then, Mr. Dow. It's been a great pleasure having this little talk with you.
Well, I've enjoyed it too, meeting you and Miss Kelly.
And I must say, for a layman, you show an unusual, acute perception into the psychiatric problems.
Ah, you think so? Well, you know, I didn't think I knew anything about it.
Well,
nobody really does, do they?
A good psychiatrist is not found in every bush.
Well, you just have to find the right bush. Well, since we all seem to have enjoyed this so much, why don't we just keep right on? I would like to invite you both to come down with me to Charlie's place and have a drink. When I enjoy people, I like to stay right with them.
Sorry, we're on duty right now. Give us a rate check some other time to be glad to.
When?
Well, Miss Kelly and I, we don't get off duty till 10 o'clock at night.
Well, then let's go to Charlie's at 10 o'clock tonight.
Oh, I don't.
And you, Miss Kelly?
Dr. Sanderson doesn't approve of members of the staff fraternizing, but since you've been so understanding, perhaps we can manage it.
Well, good. Then I'll come down here with a cab and pick you up at 10 o'clock tonight. The four of us will go out and have a happy evening. I want you both to become friends with a very dear friend of mine. You said later on, so later on it will be. Goodbye now.
I can breathe again.
Boy, that was a close shave, all right. But he seemed to be a reasonable sort of fellow. That man is proud. What he has to be proud of, I don't know. But I played up to that pride. You can get to almost anybody if you want to. Now, I must look in on that Simmons one.
Dr. Sanderson, you say you can get to almost anyone if you really want to. How can you do that?
Oh, it takes study, Kelly. Years of special eye training. There's only one thing I don't like about this Dow business.
What's that?
Having to make a date with him. Oh, he's left here as a good friend and a booster of the sanitarium, but I guess I'll just have to go out with him tonight. You don't have to.
Oh?
There's no point in it. I'll have a drink with him and pat him on the back and leave. I've got a date tonight anyway.
Oh, well, by all means. I didn't want to go anyway. The whole idea bored me stiff. Why, I wouldn't go if I never went anywhere again. I wouldn't go if my life depended on it.
What's the matter, Kelly? What are you getting so emotional about?
Mr. Dowd may be a peculiar man with funny clothes, but at least he knows how to act. His manners were perfect.
I saw you give him that Dow puss stare. I didn't miss that.
He wouldn't sit down until I sat down. He told me I was lovely and called me dear. I'd go have a drink with him if you weren't going.
Oh, sure you would. And look at him. All he does is hang around bars. It doesn't work. And all that corny bowing down and getting up out of his chair every time a woman makes a move. Well, He's as outdated as cast iron deer. But you'll sit with him at a bar and let him flatter you. Oh, you're a wonderful girl, Kelly.
Now let me tell you something.
Dr. Tennyson, Mr. Kelly.
Yes, Doctor.
County gardeners are brewing more carefully around my prize dahlias along the fence by the main road. They'll be ready for cutting next week. Now, the difficulty of the woman with the big white rabbits, has it been smoothed over?
Yes, Doctor. I talked with her brother, and he seemed quite reasonable.
I have had many patients out here who've seen animals, but I don't think I've ever had a patient with an animal that large.
Yes, Doctor. She called him Harvey.
Harvey? Unusual name for an animal of any kind. Harvey is a man's name. I have known many men in my day named Harvey, but I've never known of any animal whatsoever with that name. This case has an interesting phase, Doctor.
Yes, Doctor.
I will now go upstairs with you and check in on this woman. Perhaps we could use my Formula 977 on her. I will give you my advice in prescribing the treatment.
Thank you, Doctor.
And now may I ask, what's that doing over there? Whose hat and coat is that?
I don't know. Do you know, Kelly, was it down?
No, he had his hat on, Doctor.
Give me that hat. There might be some identification in there. What's this? 2 holes cut in the ground of the hat?
That's strange.
Some new fad. Put them away. Hang them up. Get them out of here.
Hello, Dr. Chumley.
Oh, there you are.
How is every little old thing?
Fine, Wilson. Thank you. Fine.
Look, someone's gonna have to give me help with that Simmons thing. Screwed a restraining jacket or something. She's horrible. Oh, there you are. Forget about me, did you? That's okay. I got her girdle off all by myself.
We're going upstairs to check in on that patient right now, Wilson.
She's in the hydro tub now. Oh my God! I left the water running on.
Oh, gee, oh. Willie, remember your promise. Hello, Dr. Sanderson. Willie, you haven't forgotten that in the first cocktail party?
That's right, Pat.
You promised them faithfully.
I have to go upstairs right now and check on the patient. Be down shortly.
Give a little quick silence, Willie. I don't want to be late to the party. I'm dying to see the inside of that house. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Betty Chumley, Dr. Chumley's wife.
Here. Let me give you one of my cards. If you should want to call me, I'll explain this fast. If you should want to call me at this number. Don't call me at that one because that's the old one.
Why, thank you. Is there something I can do for you?
Well, what did you have in mind?
You seem to be looking for someone.
Oh, yes, I'm looking for Harvey. I went off without him.
Harvey?
Yes.
Is he a patient here?
No, nothing like that.
Does he work here?
No, he is, he's what you might call my best friend. He's also a puka.
Where was he when you last saw him?
Well, he was, sitting in that chair with his coat and hat over there on that rack.
There doesn't seem to be any coat and hat around here now.
No.
Perhaps he left?
Yeah, apparently so. I don't see him anywhere.
What was that word you just said? Puka?
Yes, that's it.
Is that something new?
No, as I understand it, that's something quite old.
Oh, really? I never happened to hear of it before.
Well, you know, I'm not real surprised to hear that. I hadn't heard it either until I met Harvey. Oh, I hope you do get an opportunity to meet Harvey. I'm sure he would be quite taken with you.
Oh, really? Well, that's very kind of you to say so, I'm sure.
Not at all. You know, when Harvey takes a liking to people, he expresses himself quite definitely. He's not particularly interested. He just kind of sits there like an empty chair or an empty spot on the floor. Harvey takes his time making his mind up about people. choosy, you see.
That's not such a bad way to be in this day and age.
No, no. But you know, like I said, he's when he takes a liking to people, he expresses himself quite definitely. Now, he likes Vita. Now, that's because he's fond of me, and Vita and I are in the same family. Now, you'd think the feeling would be mutual, wouldn't you? But Harvey doesn't seem to care much for Vita. Don't you think that's rather too bad, Mrs. Chumley?
Oh, I don't know, Mr. Dowd. I gave up a long time ago expecting my family to like my friends.
Yes.
It's useless.
Yes, but we must keep on trying. But
There's no harm in trying, I suppose.
yes, because if Harvey has said to me once, he's said a million times, Mr. Dowd, I would do anything for you. Mrs. Chumley,
Yes?
did you know that Mrs. McElhenney's Aunt Rose is going to drop in on her unexpectedly tonight from Cleveland?
Well, no, I didn't.
Well, neither does she. That puts you both in the same boat now, doesn't it?
But I don't know anybody named Mrs.
McElhenney? Ah, they live next door to us. Wonderful people. Harvey told me about her Aunt Rose. That's an interesting little news item. You may feel free to pass that around.
Well,
Mrs. Chumley, would you care to go downtown with me? I would be glad to buy you a drink.
Thank you very much. But I'm waiting for Dr. Chumley, and if he came down and found me gone, he'd be liable to raise... He'd be irritated.
Ah, well, we wouldn't want that now, would we? Well, some other time, maybe.
I'll tell you what I'll do, however.
Well, what will you do, however?
If your friend comes in while I'm here, I'd be glad to give him a message for you.
Would you do that for me? I certainly would appreciate that.
No trouble at all. I'll write it down on the back of this. What would you like me to tell your friend?
Well, ask him to meet me downtown tonight if he has no other plans.
Meet Mr. Dowd downtown. Any particular place downtown?
No, he knows where. Harvey knows this town like a book.
Harvey. You know where. Harvey what?
Just Harvey.
I'll tell you what.
What?
Doctor and I are going right downtown to 12th and Montview. We could give your friend a lift into town.
What's going on at 12th and Montview?
Dr. McClure's having a cocktail party.
Oh, a cocktail party at 12th and Montview.
We're driving down there in a few minutes, and we'd be happy to give your friend a lift.
Well, I hate to impose on you, but I certainly would appreciate that.
No trouble at all. Dr. McClure's having this party for his sister from Wichita.
Oh, I didn't know Dr. McClure had a sister in Wichita.
Do you know Dr. McClure?
No. Are you sure you wouldn't like to come downtown with me and have a drink?
Oh, I really couldn't, but thank you just the same.
Well, some other time perhaps?
Thank you.
Well, it certainly was a pleasure to meet you, and I hope to see you again very soon.
So do I.
Good night, my dear. You can't miss Harvey. He's very tall. He's like this.
That Simmons woman is uncooperative, Doctor. She refused to admit that she has this overgrown white rabbit. Insists it's her brother. Give her 2 of these at 9, and then again at 10 if she continues to be so restless. Another trip to the hydro room at 8, and then again in the morning at 7. And then we'll see if she won't cooperate tomorrow, won't we, Doctor?
Yes, Doctor.
Are you ready, Pet?
Yes, Willie.
You know where to call me if you need me.
Oh, really? There was a man in here, a man named, oh, here it is. Dowd, L.W.P. Dowd.
Yes, Doctor. That's Mrs. Simmons' brother. I told him he could look around, and I gave him full visiting privileges.
She is not to see anyone tonight. Not anyone at all. Tell him that.
Yes, Doctor.
He didn't ask to see her. He was looking for someone, some friend of his.
Who would that be, Dr. Sanderson?
He said it was someone he came out here with this afternoon.
Was there anyone with Dad when you saw him, Miss Keller?
Not when I saw him, Doctor.
Well, he said there was. He said he last saw his friend sitting right there in that chair with his hat and coat. He seemed quite disappointed.
Dr. Sanderson.
I told him if we located his friend, we could give him a lift into town. He could ride in the back seat. Is that okay, Willie?
Of course, of course.
Oh, here it is. He wrote it down on the back of his card. His friend's name was Harvey.
Harvey?
He didn't give me his last name, but he did mention something else about him. Puka. But I didn't quite get what that meant.
Harvey. find out about this?
I don't know where he went. Just a second ago.
Main gate. Henry, Dr. Sanderson.
Gaffney. Judge Gaffney.
Henry, was there a man in a gray suit that went through the gate a minute ago? He did. He's gone.
Judge Gaffney, this is William Chumley, the psychiatrist. I am making a routine check on the spelling of a patient's name before entering it into our records. You telephoned out here this afternoon about having a client committed. How do you spell that name? With a W? Not a U? Mr. Elwood P. Dowd? Thank you, Judge. Dr. Sanderson, I believe your name is Sanderson.
Yes, doctor.
You know that much, do you? You went to medical school. You specialized in the study of psychiatry. You graduated. You went forth. Perhaps they've neglected to tell you that a rabbit has 2 large pointed ears, and that a hat for a rabbit would have to be perforated to make room for those ears.
Mr. Dowd seemed quite reasonable this afternoon, Doctor.
Doctor, the function of a psychiatrist is to tell the difference between those who are reasonable and those who merely talk and act reasonably. Do you realize what you have done to me? You don't answer, I tell you. You have permitted a psychopathic case to walk off these grounds and roam around with an overgrown white rabbit. You have subjected me, a psychiatrist, to the humiliation of having to call, of all things, a lawyer to find out who came out here to commit and who came out here to be committed.
Dr. Chumley, I
Just
waste my
a
time.
minute. Wilson, I want you. I will now have to do something I haven't done in 15 years. I will have to go out after this patient, and I will bring him back. This patient, Mr. Elwood B. Dowd. And when I do bring him back, your connection with this institution is over. As of that moment. Wilson, get the car. Hampton, call to McClure's and say that we can't make it. Miss Kelly, let's go upstairs now and get this woman out of the top.
Yes, doctor. I'll have to call the cook and tell her we'll be home for dinner. She'll be furious. Wilson,
Yes, ma'am.
what is a puka?
A what?
A puka.
You can search me.
I wonder if it would be in the encyclopedia here. They have everything in here. I wonder if it's a lodge or what it is. Oh, I don't dare take the time to do this now. If Dr. Chumley comes down and finds me still here, and he'll give knuckle raises and... Oh, dear.
P-O-O-K-A. Puka. Old South mythology. Fairy spirit in animal form, always very large. The puka appears here and there, now and then, to this one and that one, his own caprice. A wise but mischievous creature. The puka is very fond of rum pots, crackpots, and how are you, Mr. Wilson? How are you, Mr. Wilson? Who in the encyclopedia wants to know? How are you, Mr. Oh, hell no!
That's right. The stairs at the end of the hall. They lead to the 3rd floor. Go on up. I'll be there in a minute.
Well, where is she?
Where's who? Whom do you mean, Judge Gaffney? Sit down, won't you?
I mean, your mother. Where's Vita Louise?
Why, Judge, you know where she is. She took Uncle Elwood out to the sanitarium.
I know that. Then why did she call me at the club all upset and hysterical? I couldn't even make out what she was talking about. Why, she carried on something fierce.
Mother, carrying on. What about?
I don't know. She was hysterical.
Well, that's strange. Mother took Uncle Elwood out to the sanitarium. All she had to do was put him in. Did you find it? All right, I'll be there in a minute. They found it.
Who found what? What are you talking about?
Well, after Mother left the house with Uncle Elwood,
I'm no quiz kid.
Well, I found a man who is looking for an old house just like this to cut up into a little buffet apartment. He's going through it now.
Now, see here, Myrtle May. This house doesn't belong to you. It belongs to your Uncle Elwood.
But now that Uncle Elwood's locked up, Mother controls the property, doesn't she?
Where is your mother? Where is me Louise?
Judge, she went out to Chumley's Rest to tell him about Harvey and put Uncle Elwood in.
Then why did she call me at the club while I was in the middle of a game, yelling and screaming for me to get out here immediately because she had to meet me about something important?
I don't know. I simply don't know. Do you have the deed to the house?
Certainly, it's in my safe. Myrtle May, I'm feeling pretty bad about this thing of locking Elwood up.
Mother and I can take a long trip now. Out to Pasadena.
I always liked that boy. He could have done anything, been anything. He could have made a name for himself in this community.
And all he did was get a big rabbit.
He had everything. He had brains, personality, friends. Men liked him. Women liked him. I liked him.
Are you telling me that Uncle Ed was like other men? That women actually liked him? I mean, like that?
Well, not since he's been running around with this big rabbit, of course. There was a time when that mailbox of your grandmother's was full of those little blue, sweet, scented envelopes for Elwood.
I don't believe it.
Well, of course, there was always something different about Elwood.
I don't doubt that.
Yeah, I always took everything so calm. You know, any change of plans, I always admired him. I should have been suspicious. The average man looks up and sees a great big rabbit, he's going to do something about it. Not Elwood. He took that calmly, too. And you see where it got him.
You don't dream how far overboard he's gone on that rabbit.
Oh, yes, I do. He's had that rabbit in my office many a time. I may be old, but I don't miss much. What's that noise?
The prospective buyer on the third floor. Mother! Look, Judge!
Nina, what's wrong, girl?
I never thought I'd see either of you again.
Take hold of her, Judge. She looks like she's going to faint.
Oh.
Now, Mother, you're all right. You're going to be perfectly all right.
Steady, Nina. Steady, girl. Steady.
Please, not so fast.
Don't rush her, Myrtle. Ease her in now.
Let me sit down. Just give me some place where I can sit down.
Here you are. Easy now. Easy.
Oh, wait!
Oh.
Oh, the gas bill.
Oh.
Get her some tea, Myrtle. You want some tea, Vina?
Let me get you some tea, Mother. Get her sweater off, Judge.
Have Myrtle get your sweater off. Get her sweater off, Myrtle.
Leave me alone. Let me sit here. Let me get my breath.
Let her get her breath, Judge.
Just let me sit here a minute and then let me go up to my own bed where I can let go.
What happened to you, Mother?
Omar, I want you to sue them. They put me in and they let Elwood out.
What's this?
Mother!
Oh, just look at my hair.
But why? What did you do? What did you say? You must have done something.
I didn't do one thing. I simply told them about Elwood and Harvey.
How could it have happened to you? I don't understand it.
I told them about Elwood, and then I would walk down to the cab to get his things. As I was walking along a path, this awful man stepped out. He was a white slaver, I know he was. He had on one of those white jackets. That's how they advertise.
Oh, man? What did he do, Mother?
Well, May, you better leave the room.
Now, I should say not. Go on, Mother.
Yeah, what did he do, Vina?
He took me in there, and he took me upstairs, and he...
Go on, Vina.
Poor Mother. Was he a young man?
Myrtle May. All right.
He took me upstairs, and he tore my clothes off.
Oh, did you hear that, Judge? Go on, Mother.
I'll sue them for this. I will sue them.
And then he sat me down in a tub of water.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
I always thought that what you were showed on your face. Don't you believe it, Judge? Don't you believe it, Myrtle? This man took a hold of me like I was a woman of the streets. But I fought. I've always said that if a man jumped at me, I'd fight. Haven't I always said that, branches and all that filthy stuff. That place ought to be cleaned up, Omar. You've got to get the authorities to clean it up.
This stinks to high heaven, Vita. It stinks.
You've got to do something, Judge. You've got to sue them.
I will, girl. If this Dr. Chumley thinks he can run an unseemly place like that right on the edge of town, I will personally chastise him. I'll run him out of the state.
Is that all those doctors think about at places like that, Judge? Think about sex?
I don't know.
Because if it is, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. It's all in their heads anyway. Why don't they go for long walks in the fresh air? Judge Gaffney walked everywhere for years, didn't you, Judge?
I think we had better take some notes on this. Let's see now. You say that these two doctors came upstairs and talked to you. That was Dr. Chumley. And what was the name of the other doctor?
Sanderson. But, Judge, don't pay any attention to anything he says to you. He's a liar. Close-set eyes. They're always liars. Besides, I told him something in strictest confidence, and he blabbed it.
What did you tell him, Mother?
Oh, let's just forget it. I don't even want to talk about it. You can't trust anybody anymore.
If you told it to this Dr. Sanderson, you can tell it to us. This is your daughter. I'm your lawyer.
I know which is which. I don't want to talk about it. I want you to sue them, and I want to get in my own bed.
Mother, this is the important thing. Where is Uncle Elwood?
I should have known better than to try to do something about him. Something protects him. That awful Puka.
Mother, where's Uncle Elwood? Answer me.
How should I know? They let him go. They're not interested in men at places like that. Don't act so naive, Myrtle May. What's that noise?
I found a buyer for the house.
What?
Mother, we've got to find Uncle Elwood. No matter what happens to you out there, we've got to lock up Uncle Elwood.
I don't know where he is.
Miss Johnson,
The next time, you take him out there, Judge. Wait till Elwood hears what they did to me. He won't stand for it. Don't forget to sue them, Judge.
would you take these upstairs and help my mother to bed?
Myrtle May, all I hope is that never, never as long as you live, a man tears the clothes off of you and dumps you down in a tub of water.
Now see, Mother mussed everything. No matter what happened out there, Uncle Elwood is still wandering around with Harvey.
What I need to do is take some more notes on this.
It's all Uncle Elwood's fault. He found out what she was up to, had her put in, and then he ran.
No, don't say that. Your Uncle Elwood thinks the world and all of your mother. Ever since he was a little boy, he's wanted to share everything with her.
I'm not giving up. We've got to find him. We'll get detectives. And besides, you'd better save some of that sympathy for me and Mother. You've no idea what we have to put up with. Wait till I show you something he brought home about 6 months ago. We hid it out in the garage. Just wait till I show you, Judge.
What I need to do is go up and talk to Vita. There's something she's not telling me. I can sense that.
You just wait.
All right, I'll wait.
Okay. Is he here?
What? What's this?
The crackpot with the rabbit, is he here?
No, and who, may I ask, are you?
Not here, Doctor. All right, what's your name?
What? Judge Gaffney. Oh, where's this Chumley?
The reason I asked your name is the doctor always likes to know who he's talking to.
Yeah.
He's weird like that sometimes. This guy says his name is Judge Gaffney, Doctor.
Well, Chumley.
Good evening, Judge. Let's not waste any time. Has he been here?
Who? Elwood? No. But now, see here, Doctor.
Sure he ain't been here, Doc. He's wise now. He'll be hiding. It'll be an awful job to smoke him out.
It will be more difficult, but I'll do it. They're sly. They're cunning. But I get them. I always get them. Do you have a list of places we've been, Wilson?
Right here, Doctor.
Read it.
Well, we've been to 17 bars. We've been to Eddie's Place, Charlie's Place, Bessie's Barn Dance, the 4th Avenue Firehouse, the 10th, 12th, and 9th Avenue Firehouse, just to be safe, the Union Station, the grain elevator. Say, why does this guy hang out at a grain elevator anyway?
Foreman's a friend of his. He has many friends in many places.
We've come out here this afternoon to ask Mrs. Simmons if she would have any other suggestions as to where we might look for him.
I must inform you, Doctor, that Mrs. Simmons has retained me to file suit against you.
What?
For what happened at your sanitarium this afternoon.
That suit?
While we're on that subject,
That's pretty anti, Doctor, huh? After I was dragging your tail all over town looking for that guy.
What happened out here this afternoon was an unfortunate mistake. I've already discharged my assistant who made it, and I am prepared to take over this man's case personally. It interests me, and my interest in a case is something that no amount of money can buy. You can ask any of them.
what about this business this afternoon, Doctor?
Water under the dam. This is the way I see it. I see it this way. The important item now is to get this man and take him out to the sanitarium where he belongs.
That's right, Judge. That's just what I think.
Allow me to introduce you. Miss Myrtle May Simmons, Mr. Dowd's niece and Mrs. Simmons' daughter.
How do you do, Dr. Chumley?
How do you do, Miss Simmons?
Hello, Murph.
What? Oh,
Now then, let me talk to Mrs. Simmons.
Mother won't come down. I know she won't. You try to get her to talk to him, Judge.
But your mother was manhandled. She was, God knows what she was. That man's behavior toward her was personal, not professional.
This is a serious charge, Wilson.
Dr. Chomley, are you going to believe me? I've been with you for 10 years. Are you going to believe me or... What's your name again?
Gaffney, Judge Omar Gaffney.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Are you going to believe this whole place or Gaffney here?
Wilson.
Me. Me and her dame who sees a rabbit.
It's not Mrs. Simmons that sees the rabbit, it's her brother.
Yes, it's Uncle Elwood.
If you'll come with me, Doctor.
Very well, Judge. Wilson,
Yes, Doctor.
we have a situation here. Wait for me.
So your name's Myrtle May, huh?
What? Oh, yes.
If we get your uncle, you're liable to be coming to the sanitarium on visiting days.
I don't really know.
Well, if you do, I'll be there.
You will?
Oh, yeah. If you don't see me right away, don't give up. Stick around. I'll show right up.
You will? Oh,
You heard Dr. Chumley tell me to wait.
yeah?
Well, while I'm waiting, I sure could use a sandwich and a cup of coffee.
Certainly. If you'll forgive me, I'll precede you into the kitchen.
Yes, sir. You're all right, Myrtle.
What?
Dr. Chumley noticed it right away. He don't miss a trick. You got something else, too, kid.
What?
Not only you got a nice build, but there's something else.
What?
You got the craziest uncle ever stuck his puss inside our nut house.
Hello. Chumley's Rest? Yes, is Dr. Chumley in? Oh, Mrs. Chumley. Well, this is Elwood P. Dowd speaking. Well, good. How are you tonight? Tell me, Mrs. Chumley, were you able to locate Harvey? Well, that's all right. I'll find him. I missed you at the McClure cocktail party tonight. All the people were very charming, and I was able to leave quite a few of my cards. Oh, yes. Well, I'm right here. But I'm leaving right away. I left as soon as you called and said that a patient had escaped. Well, I've got to find Harvey. Goodbye now. Oh, my regards to you and anyone you happen to run into. Goodbye now.
portrait happens to be the pride of this house.
Who painted it?
Oh, some man. I forget his name. He was here for the sittings, and then we paid him, and he went away. Hello? Yes? No? This is Dexter 1567.
I suppose if you have money to pay people, you could persuade them to do anything.
Dr. Chumley, when you pulled me out of that tub at your place, what did I say to you?
You expressed yourself, but I don't remember the words.
I said, Dr. Chumley, this is a belated civility. Isn't that what I said?
Oh, you said something of the sort.
You brought this up. You may as well learn something fast. I took a course in art this last winter. And the difference between a fine oil painting and a mechanical thing like a photograph is simply this. A photograph shows only the reality, but a painting shows not only the reality, but the dream behind it. It's our dreams that keep us going, that separate us from the beast. Why, I wouldn't even want to live if I thought it was all just eating and sleeping and taking off my clothes and well, putting them back on again.
Steady now, easy, steady, everything's okay.
Oh, doctor! Oh,
Now, what's the matter?
oh. Doctor, that is not my mother!
I'm glad to hear that.
Oh, doctor, Elwood's been here. He's been here.
Better be quiet.
Oh.
I'll get that.
Oh.
Hello? Boss? Boss? Who is this? Mrs. Simmons, it's your brother.
Oh, let me talk to him.
Don't tell him I'm here. Be casual.
Hello, Elwood? Yes, dear. Where are you? What? Just a minute. He won't say where he is. He wants to know if Elwood's here.
Harvey?
Yeah, Harvey. Elwood wants to know if Harvey's here. Oh, I'm so upset I don't know what I'm saying.
Tell him that Harvey is here. Perhaps that will bring him here.
But he isn't here.
Tell him. That will bring him out. We have to humor him. We have to humor them.
Yes, Elwood. Yes, dear, Harvey is here. Why don't you come home? Well, just a minute. It won't work. He wants me to call Harvey to the phone.
Tell him that Harvey is here. Say he's in the bathtub.
The bathtub?
That's right. Say he's in the bathtub, and we'll send him over there. That way we'll find out where he is.
Oh, doctor.
Now you must do it, Mrs. Simmons.
Yes, Elwood, yes, dear, Harvey is here. But he can't come to the telephone right now. He's in the bathtub. I'll send him over as soon as he's dry. What, Elwood? Elwood! Oh!
Didn't he hang up?
Harvey just walked in the door. He told me to check in the bathtub. It must be a stranger. But I know where he is. He's at Charlie's place. That's at 12th and Main.
12th and Main. That's 2 blocks down and 1 over, isn't it?
Doctor, where are you going?
I'm going out there to get your brother and take him out to the sanitarium where he belongs.
Oh, doctor, don't do that. Send one of your attendants. I'm warning you.
But if I am to help your brother,
He can't be helped. There's no help for him. He needs to be picked up and locked up and left.
but do you consider your brother a dangerous man?
Yes, dangerous.
Why?
I won't tell you why. But if I didn't, why would I be asking for a permanent commitment for him?
Then I must observe this man personally. I must see the expression on his face as he talks to this rabbit. You say he does talk to this rabbit, didn't you?
They tell each other everything.
What's that?
I
said, of course he talks to the rabbit. But, Doctor, don't go after him. You'll regret it if you do.
Nonsense. You underestimate me, Mrs. Simmons.
Oh, no, Doctor. You underestimate my brother.
No, no, not at all. Don't worry now. I can handle him.
You can handle him? That's what you think.
Myrtle May, Sam's in the bathtub.
Oh! Thank you. I may call later.
How's about the stuff in your room, Doctor? Upstairs?
I'll pack. Thanks, Wilson.
Tough you getting bounced. I had you pegged as the wanted make it great around here.
Those are the breaks.
Have you heard anything from the desk sergeant at the Police Accident Bureau?
Not yet. I just talked to the downtown dispensary. They haven't seen him.
Getting smell awful funny to me. He's been gone for 4 hours and not a word from him yet. Well, I may not see you again, so I just wanted to wish you a lot of luck and say I'm mighty sorry you got kicked in the old ashtray there, Doctor.
Thanks, Wilson. Good luck to you, too.
Kelly, let me know when you hear from the desk sergeant. If they haven't seen him, I'm going to go into town and look for him myself. He should know better than go after a psycho without me.
I'd like to help you look for the doctor, too, Wilson.
Well, that's swell of you, Doctor, after him giving you the boot and everything.
I have no resentments against Dr. Chumley. He was right and I was wrong. Chumley is the biggest man in his field. It's my loss not to be able to work with him.
Well, you're not so small yourself, Doctor.
Thanks, Wilson.
Don't mention it.
Dr. Sanderson.
Yes?
Well, Doctor, I just wanted to say that I wish you a lot of luck, too, and I'm sorry to see you weep.
Are you sure you can spare these good wishes, Miss Kelly?
Second thought, I guess I can't. Never mind.
This is for just a little advice. I'd be a little careful if I were you about the kind of company I kept.
Beg your pardon, Doctor.
You don't have to. I told you it was for free. I saw you Saturday night dancing with that drip in the Rose Room down at the Frontier Motel.
Did you? I didn't notice you.
I'd be a little careful of him, Kelly. He looked like a schizophrenic all the way across the floor.
Well, you really shouldn't have given him any notice, Doctor. He was my date, not yours.
That's his mentality. The rest of them, oh, well.
She was beautiful, though.
Who?
That girl you were with.
I thought you didn't notice.
Well, you bumped into us twice. How could I help it?
Not that it makes any difference to you, but that girl is a sweet, charming lady. She has a sweet, kind disposition, and she knows how to conduct herself.
Funny she couldn't arrange a better date on Saturday night.
And she has an excellent mind.
Why doesn't she use
Oh,
it?
not that you should be censored for that flippant hard shell you have. You're probably compensating for something.
I am not. Don't you use any of your psychiatry on me.
Well, if I could try something else, just once, just to see if you would melt under any circumstance, I doubt it.
You'll never know, Doctor.
Because you interest me as a case history, that's all. I'd like to know where you get this inflated ego from.
You aren't the meanest person. Inflated ego. Case history. Oh,
Don't run away, let's finish this.
oh, leave me alone.
Oh, gladly.
Chumley's rest. Yes, Sergeant. No accident report on them either in town or in the suburbs. Let's see. Look, Sergeant, maybe we'd better... Oh, never mind, Sergeant. They're here now. Well, Mr. Dow.
Good evening, my dear. These are for you.
Thank you.
They're quite fresh, too. I just picked them outside.
Well, I hope Dr. Chumley didn't see you. They're his prized dahlias. Tell me, did he go upstairs?
Well, not knowing, I cannot stay. You know, this color looks lovely against your hair.
I've never worn burnt orange. It's such a trying color.
Oh, my dear, you would improve any color.
Thank you. Did Dr. Chumley go over to his house?
I don't know. Where is Dr. Sanders?
There, in his office, I think.
Thank you. Oh,
Yeah, there you are.
Dr. Sampson, if you and Miss Kelly could get away now, I've got a cab outside.
Dr. Chumley.
Don't know.
Well, I'm sorry I'm a few seconds late. I thought Miss Kelly should have some flowers. You know, Doctor, after what happened out here this afternoon, these flowers really should be from you. You know, as you grow older and the pretty women pass you by, you will look back with gratitude on all those generous girls of your younger years.
Well,
shall we
Just
go?
a minute, Dowd. The situation has changed since we met this afternoon, but I urge you not to have any resentments. Dr. Chumley is your friend. He only wants to help you.
I'm glad he feels that way. I'm his friend, too.
If you begin by taking a cooperative attitude, that's the half the battle. We all have to face reality, Dowd,
Doctor,
sooner or later.
I've wrestled with reality for 40 years, and I'm happy to say that I finally won out over it. Well, why don't we all go down to Charlie's place and have a drink?
Oh, here you are. Okay, buddy, come on, upstairs. Is the doctor okay?
There must be some mistake. Dr. Sanderson and Miss Kelly and I are going downtown to have a drink. We'd be happy if you'd come along, Mr.
Wilson?
Wilson. We have a wonderful floor show.
Oh, yeah, really? Wait, do you see the floor show we got? Come on.
Yeah, Wilson, just a minute. Where did you say Dr. Chumley went down?
Well, as I stated, he did not confide his plans in me.
You mean the doctor isn't here?
Not yet.
Well, where is he?
That's what we're trying to find out.
Mr. Dowd walked in here on his own.
Oh, he did, eh? Listen, pal, you better talk faster. I'm going to work you up.
I would really rather you didn't do that, and I'd rather you didn't even mention such a thing in front of a lovely young lady like Miss Kelly.
Mr. Dowd, Dr. Chumley went in to pick you up. That was 4 hours ago.
Why, where has the evening gone?
Oh, listen to that. Smart, eh?
Just a minute, Wilson. Did you see Dr. Chumley tonight, Dowd?
Yes, I did. He came into Charlie's place around dinner time. Oh, it's a charming little place. Why don't we all go there and talk it over with a tall boy?
We're going no place. Listen here, I'm going to ask you a question. If you don't button up your lip and give me some straight answers, I'm going to beat it out of you.
What you suggest is impossible.
What's that?
You suggest that I button my lip and give you some straight answers. It can't be done.
Let me handle this, Wilson.
Well, I'll handle it then, but find out where the doctor is.
Dr. Chumley went into Charlie's place, you say?
Yes, he did. I was glad to see him.
Okay.
Well, he came in and he asked for me, so naturally the proprietor brought him over and sat him down in our booth. We exchanged the conventional greetings. I said, "How do you do, Dr. Chumley?" And he said, "How do you do, Mr. Dowd?" I believe we said that at least once.
Go on.
Well, I'm only trying to be factual. I then introduced him to Harvey.
Who?
A white rabbit, 6 feet tall.
6 feet.
6 feet 1.5.
Okay. Fool around with this guy, and the doctor's probably in a ditch someplace bleeding to death.
If those were his plans for the evening, he did not tell me.
Go on, Dowd.
Well, Dr. Chumley sat down at the booth with Harvey and me. I sat on the outside like this, and Harvey sat next to me against the wall. Dr. Chumley sat directly across from Harvey where he could get a good look at him.
That's right. Spend all night on the seating arrangements.
Well, then, Harvey suggested that I buy him a drink. Knowing he does not like to drink alone, I suggested to Dr. Chumley that we join him.
And so,
We joined him.
then what?
We joined him again.
And then...
We kept right on joining him.
Oh, skip all the joining, will ya?
Now you're asking me to skip a rather large portion of the evening.
Tell us what happened. Come on, please.
Well, Dr. Chumley and Harvey got into a conversation, quietly first, but after a while it grew rather heated. Dr. Chumley, he raised his voice.
Yeah? Why?
Well, Dr. Harvey seemed to think that Dr. Chumley should assume some of the financial responsibility for all the joining. Well, Dr. Chumley didn't seem to want to do that.
Yeah, I could believe that part of it.
Let him talk. Let's see how far he'll go with it. This guy's got some guts.
Well, I agreed to take on the whole thing because I didn't want any trouble. And the bartender, he's a very fine man with an interesting approach to life.
Cut the damn
And
double
the
talk.
other matter came up. You know, I'm sure you are a sincere sort of person, Mr. Wilson, but I really must insist that you not speak like that in front of Miss Kelly.
You're right, Dowd. And we're sorry. You say the other matter came up.
Yes. Well, there was a beautiful blonde woman, Mrs. Smethills, and her escort seated in the booth across from ours. Well, Dr. Chumley went over and he sat down next to her, explaining to her that they had once met in Chicago. Well, her escort escorted Dr. Chumley back to me and Harvey and tried to point out that it would probably be better for all concerned if he would mind his own affairs. Oh, does he have any?
Does he have any what?
Well, does he have any affairs?
Well, how would I know?
Please hurry, Mr. Dowd. We're all so terribly worried.
Well, Dr. Chumley tried to urge Harvey to go with him over to Blondie's Chicken Inn, and Harvey wanted to go to Eddie's place. While they were arguing about it, I got up, went to the bar to buy a drink. When I got back, they were gone.
Well, where did they go? Where did the doctor go?
I don't know. I had a date out here with Dr. Sanderson and Miss Kelly, and I brought a cab out, hoping that we'd run downtown and perhaps run into Harvey and Dr. Chumley and have a big party.
You satisfied? You got his story? Okay, you're lying and we know it.
Mr. Wilson, I never lie.
You've done something to the doctor, and I'm going to find out what it is.
Don't touch him, Wilson. Come on.
And maybe he isn't lying, Wilson.
That's all this guy is a bunch of lies. You guys don't believe this story about the doctor sitting there with a big white rabbit, do ya?
Maybe he did go to Charlie's place.
And saw a big white rabbit, I suppose.
Oh, and why not? Harvey was there. I mean, you know, at first the doctor was a little frightened, but it grew into admiration as the evening wore on. The evening wore on. Well, that's a charming little expression, isn't it? With your permission, I'll say it again. The evening wore on.
With your permission, I'm going to knock your teeth down your throat.
Don't you have some friends you can go play with?
The nerve of this guy. He can't come out here with an ordinary case of DTs. Oh, no. He's got to come out here with a 6-foot rabbit.
Well, stimulating as all this is, I really must be going.
Yes, hello. Charlie's place. Yes, is Dr. Chumley anywhere around there? He was here with Mr. Dowd earlier in the evening. What? Well, don't bite my head off. My, that man was mad. He said that Mr. Dowd is welcome anytime, but his friend is not.
That would be Mr. McNulty. He's the bartender. Why don't we all go down there and have a drink?
We're going nowhere.
Mr. Dowd?
Yes, Miss Kelly. May I hold your hand?
Why, yes, if you want to. Poor Mrs. Chumley is so worried. Something must have happened to the doctor. Can't you try to remember something? Something at all that might help her, please?
For you, I would do anything. I would almost be willing to live my life over again. Almost. But I've told it all.
You're sure?
I'm quite sure, Miss Kelly. But won't you ask again? I rather like that warm tone in your voice just then.
So did I.
Ah, nuts.
What? Nuts? Oh, well, must be going. Things to do.
Mr. Dowd, what is it you do?
What is it I do? Well, Harvey and I, we go into the bars, and we have a drink or two, and we listen to the jukebox. Soon the faces of the other people turn towards mine and smile. They say, we don't know your name, mister, but you're a charming fellow. You know, Harvey and I warm ourselves in those moments. Yeah, we've entered as strangers, and soon we have friends. They come over, they sit with us, they talk with us, they drink with us. They tell us about the big, terrible things that they've done and the big, wonderful things that they will do. Oh, they tell us about their hopes, their regrets, their loves, their hates. All very large, because nobody ever brings anything small into a bar. Well, then I introduce them to Harvey, and he's so much bigger and grander than anything they offer me. When they leave impressed. You know, the same people very seldom come back. But I guess that's envy. You know, there's a little bit of envy in the very best of it. Isn't that too bad?
How did you happen to call him Harvey?
Well, Harvey is his name.
How do you know that?
Well, that's a rather interesting little coincidence there, Doctor. One night several years ago, I was out walking along, in the early evening along Fairfax Avenue between 18th and 19th. You know the block?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Well, I just helped Ed Hickey into a cab. He'd been mixing his rye with his gin, and I felt he needed conveying. Well, I started to walk down the street, and I heard this voice say, "Good evening, Mr. Dowd." Well, I turned around. There was this great white rabbit leaning up against the lamppost. Now, I didn't think anything of it, because, you know, when you've lived in a town as long as I've lived in this one, you get used to the fact that everybody knows your name. Well, so naturally we started chatting. And he says to me, he says, "Ed Hickey is a little spiffed tonight, or could I be mistaken?" Well, of course he was not mistaken. I think the world and all of Ed Hickey, but he was spiffed. Well, we kept right on talking. Pretty soon I said, to him, you know, fella, you have the advantage of me. You know my name, but I don't know yours. Well, right back at me, he says, well, what name do you like? What name do you like? Well, I didn't have to think about it for a second because Harvey's always been my favorite name. So I turned around to him and I said, Harvey. And here's the really interesting part of the story. He says to me, what a coincidence. My name is Harvey.
Mr. Dowd, what was your father's name?
John Frederick.
Mr. Dowd, when you were a child, you had a playmate, didn't you? Someone you were very fond of, with whom you spent many happy, carefree hours?
Yes, I did, Doctor. Oh, didn't you?
What was his name?
Vern McElhenney. Did you know the McElhenneys, Doctor?
No.
Oh, that's too bad. There were a lot of them. They really got around a lot, too. Nice people.
Mr. Dowd, was there someone, somewhere, sometime, whom you knew by the name of Harvey? Did you ever know anybody by that name?
No, Doctor, I didn't. Maybe that's why I always had such high hopes for him.
Come on, Wilson, let's take Mr. Dowd upstairs now.
I'm taking him nowhere. You made this your show. Sitting here forgetting about poor Dr. Chumley. Well, it's your show. Okay, you run it.
Come on, Dowd. Come on, Elwood.
Well, all right, Lyman. But, you know, I really can't visit for very long. I promised Harvey I will take him to the floor show.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy, oh, boy. What are we... Dr. Chumley! Are you all right?
All right. Of course I'm all right. I'm being followed. Lock that door.
Being followed? By who?
None of your business.
Chumley? What are you doing out there? I just saw you go in there.
I've been out through my window. Wilson, don't leave me.
No, Doctor.
Get that man down out of here.
Yes, Doctor.
No, Wilson, don't leave me.
But you just said that...
Don't be on the telephone.
Dumpty. Yeah, get that guy down his clothes and get it down here right away.
Wilson, don't leave me.
Wait a minute. Come on. Just gas man.
I gotta say, Dr. Chumley.
Hiya, Myrtle.
Hello.
Chumley, we gotta talk. This thing is serious.
I should say so.
More serious than you imagine. Where can we talk?
Oh, no, not in there.
The doctor doesn't want you in his office.
No, sir.
All right. Sit down, Chumley. Sit down, Myrtle May.
Sit down, Dr. Chumley. Sit down, Myrtle May. Wilson, don't go. Don't leave me.
Now, Chumley, here are my notes. The facts. Can anyone hear us?
Yeah, we can all hear you. If that's any good.
Now, Chumley, has it ever occurred to you that there might be something like this big rabbit Harvey?
Well, of course there isn't. And anyone who thinks so is crazy. Well, don't look at me like that. There's nothing funny about me. I'm like my father's family. They're all dead.
Now, my client, the plaintiff, Mrs. Vita Louise Simmons, under oath, swears that on the morning of November the 2nd, standing in her kitchen, hearing her name called, she turned and she saw this great big rabbit, Harvey. He he was staring at her. Resenting the intrusion, she made certain remarks and, well, forced him from the room. He left.
What did she say to him?
Well, she was emphatic. The remarks don't matter.
I must know what she said to him to drive this creature from her sanitary, I mean her home.
Well,
I'd rather you not tell him, Judge. It isn't a bit like Mother.
Quit stalling. Let's have it.
well, she stared him right in the eye, and in the heat of anger, she said, "To hell with you."
To hell with you. He left?
Yes, but that's not the point. The point is this perjury, or is it something that we can cope with? I'm asking for your opinion.
Ruthie, I've been looking all over for you.
Dr. Sanderson, disregard what I said to you this afternoon. I want you on my staff. You are a very astute young man.
Oh, Lyman, did you hear?
Oh, baby.
See you later. We've got to keep Uncle Owen out here, Doctor.
Oh, no. I want the sanitarian to be it was this afternoon before he came out here.
I know what you mean.
You do?
Well, it certainly gets on anyone's nerves how Uncle Owen knows what's going to happen before it happens. Well, this morning, for instance, Uncle Owen said that Harvey said that Mrs. McElhenney's Aunt Rose would drop in on her unexpectedly from Cleveland this evening.
And did she?
Did she what?
Your Aunt Rose, did Harvey do what he said she would?
Yes, but what of it? What do we care about the McElhenneys?
Fly specks. I've been spending my life amongst fly specks, while miracles are leaning on lampposts at 18th and Fairfax.
Good. Nobody here but people.
Mother, you said you weren't going to come down here.
Well, good evening, Myrtle May. I brought Elwood his bathrobe. Well, why are you all just standing here? I thought you'd be committing him.
Sit down here, girl.
I will not sit down there.
How's about you and me stepping out Saturday night?
Oh, certainly not. Come here, Myrtle.
I'm sorry.
Is everything settled?
It will be.
Doctor, may I give you an opinion?
Oh, yes, do, by all means.
Oh, Mark, his opinion. He's the one I told you about. The
Doc-
eyes.
Doctor, it's my opinion that Elwood P. Dowd is suffering from third-degree hallucinations, and the other party concerned is a victim of autosuggestion. I recommend shock formula 977 for him, and bed rest at home for,
You do?
That's my diagnosis, Doctor. Mr. Dowd will no longer see this rabbit after this injection. We've used it on hundreds of psychopathic cases before.
Don't you call my brother a psychopathic case? There's never been anything like that in our family.
But Mother, if you did think Uncle Owen was psychopathic, why did you bring him out here?
I couldn't take him to jail, could I? Besides, this thing is not your uncle's fault. Why did Elwood have to speak to him anyway? With a town full of people, why did Harvey have to bother Elwood?
Keep your oar out. Don't put your oar in. If
means everybody's taking part in it. Nobody is left out. Oh, tell me, Doctor, how did you get along with Harvey?
Well, Doctor, we're waiting for your answer.
What?
What's your decision?
I must spend some time alone with this man. If you all could step into the other room, I'll have my diagnosis in a moment.
Do hurry, Doctor.
I will.
You stay here, Harvey, Elwood. I'm so
Let me get you this chair. Here. Thank you. Here, and take this cigar. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Well, what did you have in mind?
Mr. Dowd, what kind of man are you? Where do you come from?
Didn't I give you one of my cards?
And where on the face of this tired earth did you find a thing like him?
A Harvey the Puka?
Is it true that he has a function that...
He gets advance notice? I'm happy to say it is. Harvey is versatile. Harvey can stop clocks.
What?
That's right. He says he can take... Wait, you've heard the old expression, his face can stop a clock?
Yes? But why? To what purpose?
Well, Harvey can stop your clock and go away. You can go away as far as you like, with whomever you like, and stay as long as you like. And when you get back, not 1 minute will have passed by.
You mean that he actually can...
Einstein has overcome time and space. Harvey has overcome not only time and space, but any objections.
And he does this for you?
He is willing to do so at any time. But you know, Doctor, I've never been able to think of any place I'd rather be. You know, I always have a good time wherever I'm at, whomever I'm with. I'm having a good time with you right now, Doctor. Corona. Corona.
You know where I'd like to go?
Where?
I'd like to go to Akron.
Akron?
There's a small cottage outside of Akron in a grove of maple trees. Cool. Green. Beautiful.
Ah, my favorite trees.
I would go there with a pretty young woman. A strange woman. A quiet woman.
Well, why wouldn't you want to know her name? You know, you might be acquainted with some of the same people.
I wouldn't want to know her name. I would be just Mr. Brown.
You wouldn't want to know her name.
I would send out for a cold beer. And then, as I was talking to her, I would tell her things that I have never told anyone. Things that are locked up in here. Then, I would send out for more cold beer.
No whiskey?
Beer is better.
Well, maybe under a tree, but she might want a highball.
I wouldn't let her talk. But as I was talking, I would want her to reach out to soft white hand and say, "Oh, you poor thing. You poor thing."
Well, how long would you like this to go on?
2 weeks.
Now, wouldn't that get monotonous? I mean, just Akron, beer, and 414 for 2 weeks?
Oh, no, Mr. Dowd. It would be wonderful.
Well, I can't help but feel you're making a mistake not letting that woman talk. You know, if she gets around at all, she might have some interesting little news items for you. And I know you're making a mistake with all that beer and no whiskey. But it's your 2 weeks.
Cold beer at Akron and one last fling. God, man.
You think you might like to lie down there, Doctor?
Oh, no, Mr. Dowd. Tell me, would he do this for me?
Well, he could. And he might. You know, I've never heard him say anything against Akron. Oh, tell me, Doctor, where is Harvey?
You don't know?
Well, last time I saw him, he was with you.
Oh.
Oh, that's all right. He's probably waiting for me down at Charlie's.
That's it. He's at Charlie's place.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, excuse me, Doctor.
Oh, no. It's not in there.
Well, I couldn't leave without saying goodbye to my dear friend, Dr. Sanderson.
Mr. Dowd. Mr. Dowd. Dr. Sanderson is not your friend. None of those people are your friend. I am your friend.
Thank you, Doctor. I'm your friend, too.
And this sister of yours, she is at the bottom of this conspiracy against you. Well, she had commitment papers written up for you this afternoon. She has the power, a power of attorney, and the key to your safety box. She brought you out here.
Now, Vita did all that in one afternoon, huh? She certainly is a whirlwind.
God, man, haven't you any righteous indignation?
Dr. Chumley, my mother used to always tell me, she'd say, in this world, Elwood, she always used to call me Elwood. In this world, Elwood, you must be either oh so smart or oh so pleasant. You know, for years I was smart. I recommend pleasant. You may quote me on that, Doctor.
Yes, but just the same, I will protect you even if I have to commit your sister. Would you like me to do that?
No, Doctor, not unless Vita wanted it that way. You know, I think, not that you don't have a nice place and all, but I think Vita would be happier at home with me and Harvey and Myrtle May. Miss Kelly. Divine grace hath never brightened this enchanting face. Ovid's fifth elegy. My dear, you will never look lovelier.
Mr. Dowd, I'll never be happier. I just know it.
Oh.
Well,
Yes, Doctor.
I wonder if I'd be able to remember any more of that poem.
Say, maybe that rabbit gag ain't so bad. Miss Kelly never kissed me like that.
Ovid has always been my favorite poet.
Okay, you're discharged. This is the way out, buddy.
Felton, get your hand off that man. What? Apologize to Mr. Dowd.
This guy with the rabbit?
Apologize.
I apologize. That's the door to the way out.
If I leave, I'll remember it.
Just a minute, Mr. Dowd. A pretty woman like Miss Kelly often come up to you and kiss you like she just did.
Every once in a while.
What?
I encourage it, too.
To hell with decency. I must have this rabbit. Go ahead and nod. Dr. Sanderson.
Just a minute, Dowd. Doctor, do you agree with my diagnosis?
Yes. Have them all come back in.
Thank you, Doctor. Mrs. Simmons, Judge Gaffney, will you step in here for a minute, please?
Is it settled, Doctor?
I find that I concur with Dr. Sanderson.
Thank you, Doctor.
That's wonderful. What a relief.
Good boy.
Well, to celebrate, why don't we all go out and have a drink? I got the names of some new bars in the back of this book.
This shot, this injection carries a violent reaction. I must have his consent to give it to him. Will he give it?
Barney's right
Of course he will if I ask him.
And give up this rabbit? I doubt it.
Well, don't ask him. Just give it to him.
Benny's Drive-In. You know, maybe we ought to go to Benny's Drive-In. We ought to call ahead for a table. Hey, how many of us will there be, Vita?
Oh, Elwood.
Mr. Dowd, I have this Formula 977 that would be good for you. Will you take it?
Elwood, you won't see the rabbit anymore.
But you will see your responsibilities, your duties.
Well, Doctor, if you thought of it, I'm sure it's a real fine thing. And if I happen to run into anybody that needs it, I'll be sure to recommend it. As for me, I wouldn't care for it.
Hear that, Judge? Hear that, Doctor? See what we have to put up with?
Vita, do you want me to take this?
Elwood, I'm only thinking of you. You're my brother, and I've known you for years. I'd do anything for you. Then Harvey wouldn't do anything for you. He's making a fool of you, Elwood. Don't be a fool.
I won't be, Vita.
Why, you could amount to something. You could be sitting on the Western Slope Water Board right now if you'd only go over there and ask them.
Well, Vita, if that's what you want, Harvey and I will go over there and ask first thing tomorrow.
Tomorrow? I never want to see another tomorrow. Not if Myrtle May and I have to live in the house with that rabbit. Our friends never come to see us. We have no social life. We have no life at all. I wish I were dead. But maybe you don't care.
I've always wanted Vita to have everything she wants. Are you sure, Vita? All right, Doctor, I'll take it. Where do I go?
Dr. Sanderson's office.
Well, say goodbye to the old fella for me, won't you?
How long will this take, Doctor?
Only a few minutes. Why don't you wait?
We'll wait.
Dr. Sanderson said it won't take long.
Now don't fidget, Mother.
Oh, how can I help it?
Come in. What do you want? I'm looking for the little short, Oh, there you are, lady. You jumped out of the cab without paying me.
Oh, I'm sorry. How much is it?
All the way out here from town, that's $10.75.
$10.75. I could have sworn my coin purse was in here. Myrtle May, do you have $10.75 I can borrow?
No, I spent all the money Uncle Owen gave me when you inherited for the party.
Judge, do you have $10.75 we can give this man?
Sorry, nothing but a check.
We don't take no checks.
Yeah, I know.
Dr. Chumley, do you have $10.75 I can borrow to pay this cab driver?
Sorry, it don't have my wallet. I have to get on with this injection. No time to get it now. Sorry.
Well, I'll get it from my brother, but you'll have to wait. He's in there to give you an injection. It'll be just a few minutes.
You're going to get my money from your brother, and he's in there to get some of that stuff that they shoot out here.
Yes, but it won't be but a few minutes.
Lady, I want my money now.
Oh, the pig-headed stubborn thing.
I should say so.
What's wrong with you?
Nothing that $10.75 wouldn't fix. You heard me. Take it or leave it.
Well, I never heard of anything so ridiculous in my life. Dr. Chumley, will you let Elwood step out here? This cab driver won't wait. Elwood,
Don't be too long.
I've come off without my coin purse. Would you give this man $10.75? But don't give him a penny more. He's been very rude.
Well, how do you do? My name is Dowd, Elwood P.
Lofgren's my name, EJ.
Well, I'm glad to meet you, Mr. Lockwood. Here, let me introduce you to my sister, Mrs. Simmons, with my charming little niece, Myrtle May. Isn't she charming? And Judge Gaffney and Dr. Chumley.
Hi.
Have you lived around here long, Mr. Lockwood?
Yeah, I've lived around here all my life.
Well, do you enjoy your work?
Yeah, for the most part. I've driven for the Apex Cab Company some 15 years. My brother Joe's driven for the Brown Cab Company, almost 12.
Well, did you hear that, Vita? You drive for Apex, and your brother drives for, what's his name? Joe?
Joe.
Drives for Browns. Isn't that interesting, Vita? Well, here, let me give you one of my cards.
Better get on with this, Dowd.
Certainly. Give me a minute here. I live here at this address with my sister and my charming little niece. Why don't you and your brother come out and have dinner with us sometime?
Sure, I'd be glad to.
Well, when? When would you be glad to?
Oh, let's see. I'm on duty every night but Tuesday.
Well, then why don't you and your brother come out to dinner on Tuesday? Vita and I will be delighted to have you.
Sure.
Won't we, Vita?
Oh, Elwood, I'm sure this man has friends of his own.
Oh, one can't have too many friends, huh?
Elwood, don't keep Dr. Chumley waiting.
Oh,
That's
certainly,
rude.
certainly. Yeah. Here, keep the change. And it was a great pleasure to meet you, and we'll be expecting you on Tuesday with your brother. Now, if you'll excuse me, glad to meet you.
Nice meeting you. Wow, sweet guy. Ooh.
He certainly is, and you could just as well have waited.
Oh, no, lady. I've been driving this route for 15 years. I've driven them out here to get that stuff, and I've driven them back after they've had it. It sure changes them.
Well, I certainly hope so.
I mean, you're not just a kidding, lady. On the way out here, they sit back, they relax, they sometimes we sit and we watch the sunset, and we look at the birds flying, and sometimes we look at the birds flying, and there ain't no birds. Sometimes we watch the sunset, and it's raining, but we always have a swell time, and I get nice tips too. But afterwards, oh no!
Afterwards, oh no? What do you mean afterwards, oh
Oh,
no?
they crab. They yell at me to watch the lights, watch the brakes, watch the intersections. They scream at me to hurry up. They got no faith in me or my buggy. And yet, it's the same cab and the same driver, and we're going back over the same route. But it's no fun, and I don't get no tips either.
But my brother would have tipped you anyway. He's very generous, always has been.
Not after this, he won't be, lady. After this, he'll be just like any other normal human being. And you know what dumb bunnies they can be. I'm glad I met you. I'll wait.
Oh, Judge Gaffney, Myrtle May. Stop it. Stop it. I don't want him to have it. Oh, Dr. Chumley. I don't want Ellen to have it. I don't want Ellen like that. I don't like people like that.
Oh, please, Mother, stop it. Do something, Judge.
You shut up. Oh, I've lived longer than you have. I know my father. I know your father. I know...
What's this? What's all this commotion?
She sounded off again, Doc?
Yeah, she wants to stop the injections.
You haven't given it to him yet, Doctor, have you?
No, not yet, but we're ready. Wilson, take Mrs. Simmons away.
Yes, Doc.
You take your hands off me, you white slaver!
You don't know what you want. You didn't want the rabbit either.
And what's wrong with Harvey anyway? If Owen, Myrtle May, and I want to live with Harvey, it's nothing to you. You don't even have to come around. It's none of your business. Oh, Elwood.
Oh, there, Vita. Vita's all tuckered out. She's had a very busy day.
Have it your own way. But I'm not going to interrupt my game again, no matter how big the damn rabbit is.
Let's get out of here, Elwood. I hate this place. I wish we'd never come here.
Now, see here, but
It's whatever Vita says, Doctor.
Look. Oh, look. It's my coin purse. It was in here all the time. I could have paid that cab driver myself. Harvey. Let's go home, Elwood. Come on, Myrtle May.
Well, goodbye, Doctor. Goodbye, Mr. Wilson.
Come on, Elwood.
You know, Doctor, for years, I've known what my family thinks of Harvey. But, you know, I've often wondered what Harvey's family thinks of me.